Well, good morning, Kansas City Public Schools and families across the region. We are so glad to have you this morning. And today we're going to have an interesting feature. We're going to go directly to the source, to our teachers, to ask them how their first couple days of school are going through distance learning and virtual learning. Today is going to be a great time to ask them some questions about their thoughts, their feelings, how it's been going, how they're approaching this year. And again, hear directly from our teachers on the front lines working with students and families each day. Don't want to have much more introduction than that because they're the stars of the show. So without further ado, we're going to have them introduce themselves to you. And first, we're going to start with Miss Everest at J.A. Rogers Elementary. Miss Everest, introduce yourself, please.
Good morning and welcome to another awesome year at KC Public Schools. I'm Miss Everest. I teach fourth grade here at J.A. Rogers, and I'm very excited about a year of distance learning with my new learners.
Excellent. Thank you, Miss Everest. How about Miss Mabion?
Hello, I'm Ericka Mabion. I am our iSpark STEM coordinator. I'm excited to be leading our STEM program and all of our teachers that are switching to doing virtual hands-on learning.
Thanks, Ms. Mabion. And those of you who are avid Twitter users, Ms. Mabion is a great follow on Twitter. She might give you her handle later in the show. She has great resources and references for you out there in the Twitterverse. Thank you, Ericka. Next, introductions. Miss Carly, would you like to go next?
Sure thing. My name is Carly Overish, and I am a second grade teacher at J.A. Rogers Elementary. It is my first year at Rogers, and I'm so excited to be maneuvering that with a new school as we all maneuver brand new learning techniques.
My name is Laura Culp. I am an 8th grade math teacher at Northeast Middle School. I also teach Algebra 1.
Thanks for joining us, Ms. Culp. Good to see you this morning. How about Lauren?
Hi, I'm Lauren Bakian-Aaker, and I teach 5th grade ELA and Social Studies at Hale Elementary. Welcome, everyone.
Good morning. My name is Calvin Davenport. I'm at Truce Elementary. I teach 5th grade, and I'm so excited to get this learning in hand and building new leaders.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Davenport. Good to see you.
Hey everyone, my name is Aniel, and I'm with East High School Bears. I teach regular biology and AP biology.
Excellent. Thanks, Mr. Aniel. Great to see you. So glad to have you today. Okay, that's everyone. Thanks for your quick introductions. I love that our students are going to get to see your faces on KCPS Homeroom, the TV show, and also those beyond even KCPS get to hear your words of wisdom today. So first quick question is hopefully something that each of you have been thinking about, and it's easy to think about. But how has your first day been? How have your first couple days been? What have been successes? What have been challenges as we have our students back online virtually or through distance learning? And I can call on someone, which we'll do first. So because I was in Carly's class today, watching her and observing her beautiful teaching in person. Carly, do you have some thoughts about your first day, your successes, your challenges, and how it went?
Yeah, it has definitely been a whirlwind. Just getting all the students logged on and getting them to the correct places at the correct time definitely has been the biggest challenge, as you saw today in my classroom. But it's just been so fun to get to know a new group of students, and I can't wait to have more students log on tomorrow and the next coming days to learn more about them.
Right, and we look at this as the first day, right? We knew there was going to be a couple of hiccups. There might be some issues logging in, usernames, passwords, but even if we were in school in person, we'd still be kind of working through some of these same things in our classroom. So look at it as a couple of days worth of trying to get these kinks worked out so we can have our routine and our smooth processes the next couple of days. Good response. Thanks for sharing that. Mr. Aniel, how was your first day?
It was pretty good. It's glad to see some familiar faces. I had my first class of AP Bio, and these are the students that I had last year in my pre-AP. So it was nice to see them again and hear their voices. And you can tell that they're also like missing, some of them are very happy to be back. You can see on their like faces that they, it's been a while for them with what's going on. So it's just nice. Like what Miss Carly was saying, there was some hiccups logging in, but as soon as that's taken care of, it was a smooth sailing. So it was just like just a lot of problems in the beginning, but once it's all going, we went nonstop. It was great.
And the students call you Mr. A. So when they saw you today, did they have any stories about their summers or anything they wanted to share with you as just someone they hadn't seen in a couple months?
It's actually really, funny because before the quarantine or before we went, full virtual Q4, I had a different hairstyle, hair color. So they were just like super, I had a black hair, but now I'm all like bleached out. And so they were just really surprised with all the changes, that happened. So
that's good. They noticed your hair. That's a positive thing. When kids notice your hair, you got a different hair color, haircut, it's very positive. It means you're endearing to them. So I'm glad they shared that with you. Miss Kolb, how was math and algebra today?
It was good. Like everyone has said, we had some hiccups at the beginning, and by the end, everybody was getting signed on pretty easily. I think in a couple of weeks, we are going to be incredible experts at the technology, and we're just going to be able to keep right on rolling through the year.
Good. Do you have students that you had last year that were coming back to you for a different level of math?
No, I don't. They were all new students. For us, moving up from 7th grade into 8th grade, our students moved on to the high school. We did hear back from some students from the high school. It was nice to hear from them, and they were just letting us know what classes they were signing into and that they missed us. So that was good too.
Oh, good. Glad to hear that. Miss Mabion, do you want to go next? How was your first day, first couple days? What are your successes or challenges?
We're really excited to switch from a lot of the demonstrative learning that we do hands-on to doing things virtually. So I think the teachers and students will appreciate our approach of just building a foundation for good digital citizenship and getting those components that they're going to use in all of their classes. And so it's been really great to acquire new teachers and just build the excitement for all the things that we plan on implementing. A lot of the coding and robotics and just storytelling and digital citizenship, and just we're all things education being in STEM, so we get to have the best of all the world. So we're all really pumped about all the things and the opportunities for kids. So be sure on the lookout for all the things that we are going to be posting on our KCPS Homeroom.
Excellent. So Ericka, people might not know what iSpark is, and you kind of just explained it, but in a nutshell, what is iSpark for those who might not know?
Right. We do science, technology, engineering, and math. And we do a lot of cross collaboration. So say students write a story in their ELA class or their homeroom class with their teacher, be it K through 8 is the area that I have. They may bring that story with them into our class, and then they also can make a computer program with it. So they do coding and they use the foundation from the story that they made before. Or we do building and engineering. And so we built a lot of things with our Legos or our blocks, and we solve problems and do real world experiences. So our kids get to do a lot of things. They build apps, it's just the world is their oyster when they're in iSpark. So it's really great.
We love it. Thanks for being a coordinator of that program and offering those opportunities and experiences for our kids. Thank you. So we got you, Miss Everest. Miss Everest, how was your first day?
Well, just like the others have shared, we did have some hiccups. It took us a while, but we eventually, by the end of the day, I had 13 of my 18 students get logged on at some capacity. So I thought that was a pretty good, successful first day. And the other part that I probably was my favorite was getting to see their faces again. I missed them. And I was in communication with some families from last year. So that was fun to kind of help out former families and then connect with new families. And I even had 2 students help the class when they were having issues with their iPad with one of their Google Form assignments. So that was kind of fun to see the students take on the learning and then also take on the teaching role and help their peers.
Yes, when our students can own their learning and be the collaborators and the helpers, we know we're doing something right. So thank you for offering that as a success for your day. Lauren, how about you? Success or challenges for your first day?
Well, first, I just want to give a major shout out to all the families of my students because they were more than ever such partners in the success of our school day today. And I know they'll continue to be throughout these first weeks in the year. So just want to give them a special shout out. But I have 2 sections of 5th grade, and I saw them at different times today, and I only was missing 4 students for the entire day. So that's really just amazing and just says a lot about the communication that's been going out from the district, also from our school and from teachers, just to really try to make the first day as successful and connected as possible. I really made it my goal to try to use low tech today and like really walk them through some things. They had notebooks and did some writing, and I said, don't look at the screen. And that to me was like a real success, was finding ways to do some of the things I would have done in class without the computer and still get them to share their writing and get to know one another in ways that make them feel comfortable and going to the next level of wanting to share and participate in the future. So just had a really great day.
Excellent. Thanks for those thoughts as well. I think we got everybody on your first day. Mr. Davenport, did we ask how your first day was? How was your first day?
My first day went great. It was great to see the kids. I've been in Truce for 3 years and just been new to 5th grade, just seeing some of the old faces pop on and just the patience of the kids and the parents, just having patience with us, with everything that's going on, and just being able to be there, making phone calls when they're having a hard time logging in. So I just look at my success as challenge and challenges as my success, so I can, share that with my kids so we can get through this school
so
year.
we talk about maybe getting through this school year and changing that mindset into, enjoying the school year, learning during the school year, really perfecting things and offering different experiences in the school year. Mr. Davenport, what did your kids say to you when they got logged on? My next question was about the kids. What have they been saying to you? What, Mr. Aniel said that his hair got comments today, but what did the kids say to you, Mr. Davenport, today when you saw them for the first time?
It was just the smiles, that's all it took, was the smiles on their face, because I like to build those relationships. And, when you already have those relationships, it's just the smiles that brightens up everything, that just makes your heart smile. So it's just the smiles. And hey, Mr. Davenport, good to see you. Mr. Davenport's my teacher. Oh yeah. So, it's just makes your heart smile.
Yes, and we all as educators working with kids and families, we really thrive on human connection, right? So it's hard not to give fist bumps, high fives, even side hugs. It's really hard not to do that, but connecting in other ways virtually. I love hearing those stories about the smiles and, Mr. Davenport's my teacher. So thank you for sharing that. Others of you on the call, what have the kids been saying to you today while they've been on the calls with you?
I just had lots of questions about what this year was going to be like, and if they get to see each other during lunchtime, or, those kinds of times where they want to connect with their friends. So it just reiterated to me how important it is to carve out time for them to really connect with each other, not just with me as the teacher. They just really want to catch up with each other. Like Mr. A said, they haven't seen each other and they're happy to be back with us, but also with each other.
Miss Overish, I didn't get to ask you about your first day, but what are your kids saying to you during your video chats today?
Yeah, they are just so excited to be back. At the end, they were like, are we doing this again tomorrow? Are you going to be here tomorrow? So lucky for them, they get to do this every day for a while. But yeah, I'm new to Rogers this year, and we had one other student in our video chat who's also new to Rogers. And so we spent the first little bit of time, and they told me all their favorite things about school. And so that was just really fun to kind of reconnect in a way of knowing that they're just really happy to be here, even if it is different and maybe not, they're normal, but that they're still excited to be here.
So my students had art as their encore class today, and it was so cute because our art teacher at Rogers this year was my cooperating teacher last year as a student teacher from UMKC. So they were really excited that like Mrs. Stonehawker already knew Miss Everest. And then I actually popped into their Google Meets and that was fun. And then they were so excited to show me their portraits that they worked on in art class today. And you could just see, they were just like, look at what I did, look at what I did. And so it was fun to get to see their artwork. And then also for them to be just as excited to come back to our 4th grade class after they left the art room.
I was just going to share, not on our first day, but you were talking about how students are wanting to interact and engage. And something new that the district students are going to be able to participate in is several of our buildings have initiated an after school club. You know, we're missing out on some of those normalcies, and we're going to do virtual robotics clubs at several of our buildings. And so we're really grateful that parents and teachers and students are going to get to engage in that and continue some of their fun times like they would during regular school time.
Excellent. Yes, I love that. Again, how can our kids interact with each other outside of school hours for those extracurricular offerings that we would typically have if we were in person? Good thoughts. Laura, AJ, any other comments? Besides your hair, again, that was what they were saying. Do you have anything else that they wanted to say that was exciting for you to share?
I guess the one of the frequent questions that I had today was how are we going to do lab? You know, as a science class, it came out a lot today. So I just tell them that even though we're virtual, we're going to try our best to still have fun in science. So actually today I opened up our class with a lab, you know, and I encouraged them. You know, I didn't require them to get the materials, but I encouraged them to get it if they have a chance, which is just an Oreo cookie. So we're just testing for our scientific inquiry. We're testing if double stuffed Oreos actually have double the filling compared to the regular Oreo. So for this coming Thursday, in which I will see them again, I told them to, you know, you're more than welcome to go out there and buy your Oreo cookie and do the lab with me. If not, no big deal. I'll do the lab in front of you guys, and you know, we're still gonna have fun. I want them to realize that just because we're online, we're not gonna miss out, you know, on some of this lab. It's not all gonna be like computer work or paperwork. So I guess they were just caught, you know, off guard with that, because I think everyone's doing syllabus, and then there's me doing lab on the very first day. So I guess, you know, I hope they liked it, and I hope they show up on Thursday with their own Oreo cookie. I'm just excited to, you know, continue this lab that I started.
It sounds like a delicious lab. I might have to come over and check out virtually an Oreo double stuffed and see if it's really double the filling. So great stuff.
Yes. So for us, one of the things that's been a challenge is the changing of classes and the schedule that's very different from our normal schedule. So there was a lot of time spent trying to understand how the schedule worked. And what was interesting to me was that while I was in class, students would be chatting with each other back and forth, and you could follow the chat once you closed out the class, and that they were helping each other, and other teachers were signing in and helping to try and problem solve. And so it was really nice that everybody was pulling together to try and make sure everybody was where they were supposed to be.
Excellent. I love that the kids are using the chats in productive ways. The communications team here, we were discussing if they were going to use the chat as the new like note passing. That's really old school, but I'm glad they're using the chat function to figure it out and problem solve as classmates. That's wonderful. One of the other things I was interested in is your teaching, right? How has this virtual or distance learning environment changed how you're teaching? Has it changed how you're teaching? Maybe not. How has this changed how you're teaching?
It pretty much made me more open. You know, I'm always patient, but it made me open up even more because we're going through something that's new. And just being open-minded is going to help us have fun, learn more. So just being open-minded more.
Ms. Overich, how about you? I know that when we were in your classroom, you got that question. Has this changed how you teach?
Yeah, and I like to say no still, but after having the rest of the day and having the kids come back after lunch, I have to say I have to be even more interesting. So making sure that you're just being so fun and engaging, and making sure the kids really do want to come back the next day and come back after lunch. And so that definitely, I said that hadn't changed, but then after lunch I thought, no, I'm definitely having to be more exciting than I was in person. So, but, obviously using new technology and, using new apps and things like that is different than what we normally do. But I would say, your personality and the care and the love you give for the students, that hasn't changed. If anything, it's intensified.
I was going to add on to that. I feel like, one of the things that is happening is like I really have to think through the students' eyes more than ever. And in the spring, there was a lot of like me thinking that my directions were really clear, and I added a video and, all of those little things that I tried to do to make it clear for them, but they didn't always work. And I feel like this year it's, one part focusing on those relationships and then really trying to focus on simplifying and making things meaningful and clear for kids, not having so many tabs open, not trying to do so much with all the technology, just really being really thoughtful about what will help them with the learning or the community building or whatever the experience might be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was going to add, when we were planning for what students would experience for iSpark this year, we really wanted to be deliberate and let families be able to collaborate with if they have multiple students. So one of the things we thought about was, one, having unplugged activities that tied to our STEM, and also having the students participate in computer science or learning how to code. And then if you have a kindergartner and a fifth grader and they're doing the same thing and they're learning the same language, their coding process will be the same, and they can kind of support each other and do some of those unplugged activities, some of those hands-on activities, or just directional. Some of them are like Simon says, go forward 2 spaces, or some of the standbys that we're familiar with, like Twister. Kids will get to play things like that and create things and create their own game boards. And so we really wanted to do things that were unplugged and that that students could do together if they had siblings. So that was something that was important to us.
I would say definitely, I would agree with what Lauren said about trying to make sure that you're as clear and specific as possible, make sure that you're identifying what the students need to know, and trying to create lessons that are engaging for them, that they can then push themselves rather than the teacher constantly pushing them. And trying to make sure that they're doing, that they're showing what they're learning, and that there's multiple ways for them to learn the material and multiple ways to show it. And so that's sort of been a change in mindset for me over the summer and last spring.
I agree with what was already said, especially with Mr. Davenport, being open-minded, getting students logged in, being really patient with them, because I was also having troubles just getting accustomed with like Microsoft Teams and all these other technologies. So just being open-minded and giving a lot of grace, that's definitely something. And even though it's not like, even in a normal setting, I think that's still very important.
I would agree with Ms. Culp and Ms. Aaker. You definitely have to be a lot more mindful in your planning and your presenting of lessons, keeping it simple, breaking it apart, knowing that maybe in the classroom you would walk over to a student and help them, and it looks a lot different when you're on a screen, but that also helps me plan for those students that are going to need to be in my different small groups. So yeah, it has changed my teaching, but more the approach, but not my intent behind my instruction, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. Yes. You're still who you are, your core, your personality, your professionalism, what you want to convey, but your intentionality and your thoughtfulness about those instructions and the lens of the student certainly are having to be impacted right now. And I can tell that you guys are working toward that and looking through the eyes of a student as you're thinking about your teaching. So thank you. I know it's I know it's a little bit altered, it's modified, but at the core, you guys are still teachers and professional educators who are going to make this work no matter what, because that's what you do as teachers, right? This is how we adapt and adjust. This is what we do with kids all day long. I have one final question for you guys, as our time will be almost up. But as teachers, educators who've been doing this for a while, work with kids and families on a daily basis, what would be kind of your words of wisdom for families and students as we embark upon this year? And Mr. Aniel, I'll have you go first. Words of wisdom for our families and students across the region, across Kansas City, across districts. What is your word of wisdom, your words of wisdom for our families and our students?
I just want to say that, with what's going on, I believe in learning, and, we're not going to stop learning even though there's these challenges that we are facing. And I think learning is beautiful, and, just be patient, and we're gonna make it past these challenges, and, let's all work together, and let's have a great school year.
I saw something actually on Twitter this morning from a KCPS employee that said, just because it's tough doesn't mean it's impossible. And I think that's really powerful. And I think that's really powerful to send to our families as well. This is tough for us as it is for them, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. And we will get through it together. And that's what we're all here for, is to lean on each other to make it through.
I will have to say, I believe in us. Stay patient. We're family. We're all in this together.
I was going to say that the words of wisdom that I got today from a student while he and I were trying to figure it out was that we were both still at the computer, still trying, and that as long as we didn't give up, we were still making progress, and that we were going to just keep right on going until we got the problem solved. We got the problem solved, and just not giving up and persevering is really important this year.
I would say, as a mom of 3, and to all the families and teachers out there, and to my students, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay not to know. I don't know a lot, and I will always, try to find the answers for my families and my students when they need it. And just remember to ask for help. We're all going to need help. Nobody can be an expert at this. We've never been through this. And also, just if it's so overwhelming for you or for your child, I think it's okay to take a step back, taking a break and, regrouping and realizing, like what Mr. A said, this is about learning and growth. And if you're very stressed and not feeling like your mind is there, you won't be able to learn. So it's okay to take those breaks when you really, really need them, and not, to overdo it because you need to be on that screen. I think that's just really important for all of us.
So I would say the big takeaway is that we are all learning, growing, and becoming one together. And it's new for all of us. And when we do new things, our brains grow. And so growing brains is best for everybody. So we're all in this no matter what. And KCPS, we can do it.
I was going to say that our brains are a muscle, and coming from the science standpoint, the more you work it out, the stronger it gets. And all the teachers and the administrators and everyone that have been doing lots of learning, we've gotten stronger. And our students and our parents will also. So just want to encourage everyone that you were made for this. And at this time, we're ready to be strong together. So I'm just invigorated by all the people who are doing amazing things. And I will be tweeting those things out at 3 Trails Mabion. That's the number 3, TRAILS MABION. So I look forward to seeing more things happening at J.A. Rogers with Ms. Everett and some of my other friends. So I'm just really excited about all the great things that are available for our students and our families in our KCPS. And our teachers, we are ready.
I think that's a great note to end on. We are certainly ready. We've proved it today. We've proved it the past couple of weeks as we prepared for school. We are certainly ready. We're built for this no matter what. Our hashtag for the year, no matter what. So team, thank you so much for your time today. I know it's been a long day of teaching. In theory, our show runs in the morning, but this is an afternoon call in which we're getting your thoughts on the school day. So you're appreciated. Your work is not unnoticed. In fact, it's highly noticed. And what you do is so important. And for our mindsets moving forward again, how do we make this year exceptional, even among unexceptional circumstances. So thank you for your commitment. Thank you for working with kids and families, for each other as colleagues and collaborating. You are fantastic rock stars, and I'm so happy to see all of you back engaging with our families. So on that note, KCPS Homeroom will sign off with our teacher edition, and we look forward to seeing you guys in your classrooms. Have a great day.
Well, good morning, KCPS Homeroom audience. We're so happy to have you join us today for another edition of our Back to School specials. This morning, we're going to be talking to our fine arts teachers and partners in this work as we move through fine arts and PE and health in Kansas City Public Schools. We're going to quickly introduce some of our wonderful fine arts teachers for you to have them talk a little bit about who they are, where they teach, and how they're navigating distance learning and virtual learning in the fine arts area. So first, with quick introductions, let's start with Dr. Marshall.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Adrianna Marshall. I am the coordinator of Fine Arts and Physical Education, K-12 for Kansas City Public Schools.
My name's Jason Bata, and I'm the director of bands and orchestras and also run the jazz band and combo at Lincoln Prep High School.
Hi, I'm Susan Martinez, and I am the middle school band director at Foreign Language Academy.
Hi everyone, I'm Ms. Gomez. I am the elementary music teacher at Border Star Montessori and Cholwoods Elementary.
My name is Willie Thornton. I am the co-director at Paseo Performing Arts Academy.
We have a partner with us today. Mr. Frankel, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Jim Frankel. I am the founder and director of Music First, which is a company that allows music educators to teach their students online with content and software. And I'm from New York City.
Well, thank you for joining us here in Kansas City from New York City. We're really glad to have your perspective on our show today.
My pleasure.
Great. Well, those were introductions so that you know who is visiting with us today on our show. And just a real opening question, real interesting question is, as we think about music, fine arts, how are you all navigating fine arts and music with our distance learning and virtual platforms for our kids? And Dr. Marshall, maybe you can take that as our coordinator and take the first shot at that answer.
This year, we are so excited to, use more music technology within our content area for music. Our teachers for instrumental and for choral and general music are embarking on something that's totally innovative. They are teaching students how to play instruments, how to sing, how to read music, how to read rhythm, all online right now. And we're just so excited that our teachers are so dedicated to learning about new platforms to instruct their students.
I'm going to end up doing a lot more small group and solo work at first with specific assignments and different pieces and audition material. All of my students that do all district and other honor bands will be doing that virtually. So we're getting a head start on that right now. And then hopefully later on, we can put on some sort of virtual or live stream performances with other material that I can hand out.
Yeah, and I'll follow up with that too. One of the things we learned in the spring was that we have some advantages when we are meeting virtually because we can kind of break out and it can be a little more individualized. So whereas some students they might want to work on audition material for select ensembles, other students might want to work on a solo, or yet other students just building some technique skills, and it really allows us the opportunity to let them have more choice. So my students will be having a lot more of that choice and interacting in different ways and pursuing more of their more personal goals instead of it always having to be everyone working together. And we've used things like the apps with Flipgrid and things allow them to put a little more of their personality into some of their recordings that they might send in and they can share with each other. And we're trying to get them to be a lot braver about playing, trying to coordinate some things like living room concerts and that kind of stuff, which they're not used to. So it's involving the families more is one of the things I'm trying to do, and potentially even pull them in for some activities as well. One of the other things I'm very excited about partnering with Music First, which I think is still kind of in the up and going, but that opens up a lot of opportunities. I'm sure he would be better at talking about some of those. But we do also get to interact with people online more. For instance, we have one of the Kansas City Flute Club organization members had applied for some scholarships from the Flute Center of New York and got a grant to allow some of us to join that group, and will be sharing resources with us as well. So those are things that we really wouldn't have, I think, had the opportunity when we were all just in our classrooms. Kind of, our world has broadened, I would say.
World has broadened, and the idea of a living room concert sounds really wonderful for our families who are all quarantined at home right now. So Mr. Frankel, Ms. Martinez mentioned Music First and your role in KCPS this year. Can you describe a little bit about your role in KCPS this year?
So we're hoping to bring Music First to all the music teachers and all the students in Kansas City. And what we basically provide is exactly what Susan was just talking about. An online learning space that's safe for students. And we have a huge reservoir of content for music teachers to draw upon to supplement their own curriculum, pre-made quizzes, pre-made activities. I think every music teacher on the call on this interview right now is a rock star. Music educators are the most resilient people of all, but they probably realized real quick last spring that creating online content for students to consume that's meaningful takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to create, making videos, trying to figure out, rejigger what we're doing. It's not what we're used to, but we're very resilient people. So we have a pre-made content library that has courses for general music, for band, for choir, for orchestra. But we also have a suite of software that covers every single style, from composing your own music, from playing or singing and having the software evaluate how well you're doing, to learning about music theory, to learning about music history. It's really a broad comprehensive approach to music education for K-12. And we are so excited to be able to help the music teachers, and probably more importantly, get those students in the district engaged in music making. And what I'll say to close out my little section right here is that if ever there was a time that the fine arts are more important than ever, it is right now. These students are on Zoom calls, web meetings all day. They need a space and a time to be creative, to have to be able to express themselves musically or in any art form. So yeah, we're just thrilled to be a part of it, and we're looking forward to working with teachers and students in Kansas City.
We're glad to have you. Thank you again for joining us. Ms. Gomez, what are your thoughts about how you're engaging our students during this time of distance and virtual learning?
Yes, I'm actually really excited that we're online because there's so many resources out there, especially with Music First, which for the lower elementary students and the younger kiddos, I would love to use the presenting mode in Music First so that they have an easy way to follow along in classroom. But also for the upper elementary students, I love Music First because it provides so many supplemental lessons and activities that they can do in their own pace. And I'm just really excited to use all those resources. And I'm also hoping to start private lessons at one of my schools, which I think would be really helpful to have Music First to supplement those lessons, since I don't have as much time in the day as I would like to. So I think that's a really great thing to have, and I'm looking forward to it.
Great. So as we think about our students and what we're embarking upon, as we think about their experience and the way they're seeing things right now as kids, what have they been saying to you for the last 2 days? We've had school for 2 days now here in Kansas City Public Schools. What are the students saying to you as teachers?
Well, this past 2 days has been challenging because, they're learning new software. But one thing I'm excited about this year, and some of my students, are being able to teach sight reading more in depth, and also music theory. So many students move from middle school to high school, and they have issues reading music, but they're really excited about sight reading, and I'm excited about being able to teach them individually how to read music and how to write. So they're excited.
So learning some new skills through sight reading, sheet music, great skills to have, as we know, in the music industry. Other teachers, what are your students saying to you during these first couple of days of school?
I found that, I found that they all are pretty excited to be back. And I often get more information from them if I send them a little form and give them a chance to write what they're saying. And they're full of cute little, hi, how you doing? Or, you know, I think they're as excited as we are to get back to an activity with a group of people that they know and care about. So I think they're excited. And I'm excited.
With the history of our program, they really want to get back together making music as a group with the various bands and orchestras that they're in. But they also know they need to do this so their chops don't atrophy. They don't go away. So they're looking forward to getting back in person at some point, but they understand why we are doing what we're doing. So that's good. I haven't gotten any sort of complaints or anything about that.
I found that my students are actually a lot more comfortable in their homes. So even if it's the first day, they were able to do some singing and dance around and be silly. And they had no worries about anything else because they were the only ones in the room. And they just had a lot of fun, and they're really excited to see all their friends.
Dr. Marshall, what are you hearing from students as the coordinator right now?
I'm hearing really positive feedback. The parents are just so thankful that we're not going to put fine arts on the back burner, and that their students will still have quality instruction and continue what they were doing last year. You know, I've heard some parents, well, my kid just started playing the violin. Are they going to continue to play this year even though we're in distant learning? I said, of course. Your kid will be playing the violin and actually having those small groups, so they will be able to practice more and be challenged more to sound as best as they can in their abilities and grow their musical talent. So yes, we're getting very positive feedback from the kids saying that they can't wait to, you know, get back in person. So right now they're going to just keep practicing, and they're going to do well in some of the written assignments in history and music theory, so they continue to get good grades in their music classes. So yes, they're seeing it as a positive challenge.
Excellent. What about parents? What are some quick tips for parents that you all might have as teachers that'll be helpful for them to engage with their students or help their students from home?
The biggest tips that I would get, and I have a little part in my handbook that talks about keys for success, but just really helping the kids set up a space, but also being willing to be involved, and whether that's having them have a practice space out of the way sometimes, but then also inviting them to play for them. Like I say, I think because they are all in the same household, it requires them to be engaged in a little bit different way, because it's important to play for people, and I don't think that's always happened as much. And so I think I would just say, you know, ask about what they're doing, ask them to play something for you. And I think everybody has the opportunity to be more engaged. And on that same note of being engaged, I do want to just give a quick shout out to Dr. Marshall too, because she has one of the things that all of the collaboration that happens when we're online has been tremendous. And so she's really pulled all the fine arts teachers together, putting resources out for us, but also making sure that we're sharing with each other as well, just like we want our kids to share with families in the house.
I think it's so important for if the parents are at home with their child, I don't mind the parent coming in and listening to the lesson, because if they're listening, they're learning as well. And then they're able to help their child, whether it's learning how to read music, whether it's learning how to write music, or learn how to play the piano. So I'm teaching piano online as well. So, and mainly I'm teaching music theory and teaching the students how to play chords and So they're excited about it. But if the parents want to come in the class, I'm fine with that.
Excellent. Well, on that note, Mr. Thornton, will you play us out as we end this segment of the KCPS Homeroom television show? And as you do so, we'll say thank you for joining us as we talk to our fine arts coordinators across the district in elementary, middle school, and high school. Everyone, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have a great year. Well, welcome back to the KCPS Homeroom TV show. This next segment is going to feature more fine arts teachers and partners from the Kansas City Public School District. And this one is talking about visual arts and what it looks like for our students who are experiencing the visual arts in Kansas City Public Schools. So some quick introductions of our fine folks joining us this morning. We will start with Miss Lang at Paseo Academy.
Hello, as she said, my name is Paula Lang. I am the dance instructor for Paseo Academy.
Welcome, Miss Lang. How about Mr. Jensen?
My name is Ben Jensen. I'm the National Sales Manager for the Art of Education University.
And tell us quickly what the Art of Education University is.
So the Art of Education University is an institution that supports visual arts exclusively with on-demand, personalized professional learning, as well as customizable curriculum, and also an opportunity for art teachers to actually take courses to earn a master's degree in arts education, all virtually.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us as a partner today. Miss Shukai.
Hello, my name is Abby Shukai. I'm also the social media manager working for the marketing team for the Art of Education University, and I'm happy to be here today.
Thanks for joining us as well. How about Miss Bonner?
Hi, I'm Sarah Bonner. I teach elementary art at Border Star and Trailwoods Elementaries.
All right. Well, thank you again to each of you for joining us. We're really happy to have you talk about the visual arts, the fine arts here in Kansas City Public Schools. To get started, one of the questions that our parents and our students are really interested in is how are we engaging our students with this kind of work in our schools on this distance and virtual learning platform? And I think Ms. Bonner, as an elementary teacher, do you want to start with that?
Sure. One of the ways I'm keeping students engaged is creating interactive digital worksheets through Google Slides. Using drag and drop options, I can create those with the elements of art and focus on an element for each week. And this will provide independent work and suffice for their online work assignments each week. And they can submit that in Google Classroom for 3 to 6. And I can also create those same interactive worksheets using color and texture and all those other fun elements in Seesaw for our pre-K to second grade students.
Leave it to our art teachers to be that creative. Thank you for offering those opportunities for our students. How about Miss Lang? How about you? How are you engaging your students during this time?
At this point in time, I'm letting the students know that I'm still committed to their process. And even though the platform has changed, I'm still there for them and encouraging them and letting them know that my expectations for them they haven't changed. My drive is their drive. My energy is their energy. And every day they're going to hear my voice say 5, 6, 7, 8. But on in interacting with them, I like to use things like Flipgrid, where they can be creative themselves. Like their first video that they're going to create for me is I like for them to get used to moving, especially my beginners, and have them take the syllables of their names and create movement. And they can think about that and be creative, make a video of it, share it with their classmates, and get over their fear for movement and dance, because they all come in a little shy of what am I going to do in dance. I've never had dance before, and they don't know what to expect. So I'm just going to keep my expectations high of my scholars and let them know that I'm there for them every step of the way.
Literally every step of the way, right? We also have Dr. Adrianna Marshall, who is our Fine Arts and PE coordinator in KCPS. Dr. Marshall, I know that you've been thinking about this as we've been planning for virtual and distance learning, but how are you thinking about engaging our students for the visual arts during this time?
Well, you know, visual arts is a lot. You have music, you have visual arts, you have dance, you have theater, you have so much to consider of everyone's fine arts education. And so in keeping that in mind, I just want to make sure that our teachers have the resources they need to have, you know, to have and facilitate quality instruction. And so with saying that, with us partnering up with the Art of Education, it's a wonderful platform for our visual art teachers and other fine arts teachers to have another place to get resources and to also to learn, to keep, while they're teaching, they can still continue to learn and become more of an expertise in their field. It's very important for me to consider the parents to know, like, we are still, no matter what, we're going to continue to have fine arts education. We're going to continue to provide every student with a place where they can learn safely and to grow their art. And with being at home, you want to make sure that the students have the tools that they need and that time for they have their math classes, they have their music classes, they have their art classes. And so they're getting just a complete quality education here in the district.
Thank you for those words of wisdom that you're offering. Abby and Ben, as partners in this work, what are your thoughts about engaging our students during this time?
Well, one of the things that, you know, everybody's been talking about is student engagement and how to do that via online learning. And there's going to be some challenges with that. And one of the things that Flex Curriculum, which is the Art of Education University's curriculum platform, provides is a flexible solution to do that. And so, you know, they were talking about using Seesaw and Flipgrid and other digital tools. And this curriculum platform is going to integrate right into that. And, you know, talking about how to meet your students where they're at and differentiate learning for them. And Flex Curriculum is going to allow teachers to do that. And it provides engaging lessons that can be implemented easily online. And there's some great resources in there to meet not only the artistic needs of students, but also the social emotional learning needs, which students are really going to need at this time. And it's just going to really provide a really excellent way for teachers and students to connect, even if it is through distance learning.
Do you see this as very much individualized for our students, let their personalities and their individualism shine during this moment in time?
Yes, absolutely. So one of the really cool features about the name Flex Curriculum comes from the nature that it is flexible. So although there's a great library of resources and lesson plans and content that teachers can just use, it also can be flexibly adapted into fit into any learning situation for all grade levels. So it can really meet the individualized needs of students, just depending on what that need is.
Other thoughts, Ben?
So students and parents are our most important stakeholders. At the end of the day, we realize that what we're producing is going to make it back to the home. And so we believe that by empowering art teachers with the instructional resources and the professional learning they need in order to do their jobs well, that's how we really support students' growth and their achievement. Our mission statement says we grow amazing art teachers by providing rigorous, relevant, and engaging learning at every stage of their career. And by providing flex curriculum and pro learning to Kansas City Public Schools art teachers, we're confident we're going to make an amazing impact this school year with virtual learning happening.
Good news and music to our ears. For the teachers who are on the call today, what are some words of wisdom that you have for our students embarking upon your classes this year? What do you want the message to be to all of our students across the region who might be watching this show as they embark upon art classes this year?
I would tell them, don't give up, keep reaching. And like I said, our expectations are high. They can accomplish anything. Show resilience. Your teachers are resilient, and they're going to feed from that. They're going to feed from you. So just keep it high.
Yes, to keep your expectations high for yourself and for your teachers, of course. I'm excited to use the Art of Education. The Flex program is amazing, and it's so great to be able to scaffold and tailor those projects to fit the needs of our students, and just know that they're being taken care of, and we're going to provide our absolute best and give them the opportunities to shine even though we're spending this time apart.
So, Ms. Bonner, what's one of the first projects you're going to have your students work on during this first week of school?
This first week of school, we've been using Microsoft Teams for most of our meetings. So for me to gauge what type of supplies my students have at home, I've been trying to utilize the raise your hand, lower your hand button. And they're using that as a way to say, yes, I have this supplies. And those that don't raise their hand, I can quickly make notes. So that way, when I am looking at projects to assign, I can go through and use those flex curriculum resources through Art of Ed and say, maybe I can design this project to be digital for this student that might not have crayons or markers, and make that a possibility. And others, if they want to choose to use markers, or if they have watercolor, they can do that project their way. So this week has really been making sure everybody's okay, knowing how to use our meeting tools, and encouraging them to learn how to be digital with their art making while still having the possibility of making hands-on work.
Miss Lang, as a dance instructor, what's going to be one of your first projects, or what is one of your first projects for your courses this year?
Getting back into shape. We have all missed the studio. We've been unable to take classes. So rediscovering ourselves, rediscovering movement, being able to move and create. I always like our students to be able to choreograph for themselves so they know the creativity process. So, and I also like for them to connect literature. So I like for them to find poems and create movement to literature.
That sounds like a great project to kick off this first week of school and the first few days of school. And we all might need to get back into shape after being in quarantine for a few months. So thank you all for offering your thoughts, the answers to our questions today. Thank you for taking care of kids, for partnering with us, being part of KCPS. And I hope that you all have wonderful years and look forward to seeing your work and your projects as we go throughout the year. Have a wonderful day.